about my friends from the first, second, third grade. I remember when we still lived in our old tenant house, and I was, you know, moving around the town with friends. So one time we were just running around my next flat that I would move in, and I remember my friend just turning around and sending me a thought that I would like to, or I could live there, you know? And why is that suspicious for me? Why do I think it's not entirely my thought? Is because I never wanted to move out from our tiny flat. It was tiny, but it was cozy and I liked it there. So therefore, when we run almost next to my entry door to a new flat, then I'm like, yeah, I just saw it and I just thought, oh, I could live here. And then a few years later, I just moved there. Like, wow. Well, of course, I do believe in manifestation, and I do believe it counts what we think, what we feel, what we want, what we desire, how we express ourselves. But just the fact that she turned around, she looked at my left and up and left and up, and she studied me a little bit, on the left side. David Snyder says it's your private side, and your right side is your public side. So you have your Akashic records there, and you can access somebody else's events from their lives as if they were played on the movie. Probably. This is how I understand it. It's not what I know for sure, okay? I mean, I know for sure you can access them, but I don't know how they perceive. I think they perceive it like you do in your memory. Right. Okay, so yeah, the truth is we moved to a new flat, and in the new flat there was mold, and we had windows on the ground floor, so everybody who was passing by could have a look into our flat. And right when we moved in, there was a gypsy restaurant opened nearby, and they also have windows on the ground floor, but their windows are black. And Jerzy Ficowski writes that every gypsy woman deals with fortune telling. So my experience is that, whenever they grab my hand, they pretend they cannot read, but what is left to read when you're left with that silence after showing your hand is their facial expression, for example, I know I have already told you two situations. The first palm reading I had was with my dad in the village. That's the memory that helped me identify the very, very straight nose. And probably the second one was when we're playing with friends, not a skipping rope, but something elastics, like you jump elastics. Okay, so we're doing that, and a known girl approached us, and she asked me to show her my hands. And once I did that, she goes like, "No!" So yeah, I told you that I know. And then when I was catching the train, so I just passed the gypsy woman, the very same one who did the fortune telling to me. I mean, palm reading in the village. So she caught my hand, and she just said something like a house and a husband, and that was pretty much it. And then when I was going to drawing classes, my teacher's new wife asked me for a pen and a gum, a rubber, and she kept on studying my hand on my left side in silence, And once she done that, she would just go and sit like this and just keep staring at me. And also, when being in a club, uh, just a girl showed me her hand, so I showed her my hand. And once I showed her my hand, she would cross her legs. That was her reaction, and maybe a little bit of frown or on her forehead. And in kung fu classes, I probably quite often showed my hands, as there are just all the time these uh, movements. So movements that you do, as if pushing something out. But one time I felt a little bit dizzy and I had to sit down, and then my coach approached me, and he probably did something like meridian points. With this is from Chinese acupuncture or Chinese medicine. There are some points in your body that can help you fight especially the symptoms of hypnosis, something that is imposed on you from the outside. So that helped with the dizziness, and I was like, wow. But when doing that, he was studying my left side. So I'm really curious about palm reading too, Yeah, so once we moved in and the gypsy opened their restaurants, I would just come back home from school, and I would see two women, typically with two children, sometimes other people too, and they would stack out their table and they would stack out some chairs. So they were on the left side when I was coming, and I was trying to not disturb, and I was going close to the right side to where's my home. And then my sister has a friend who is a fortune teller, and she's the one that actually I trust and I like very much. So she used to do fortune telling to all of us, all my sisters, including my mother. And I remember when she spread my cards. I spreaded my cards when actually I had to ask her repeatedly because she didn't want to do the fortune telling to me. And once I did that, I think almost all my cards were black. And and I think she was disappointed with what she saw. And now with time, I know what she saw. And once we left the house, they were, the gypsy ladies. One of them with her mom were standing on the stairs to the restaurant. And I told Ivana told me that it has already started, and in my mental screen I had a picture of, of maybe sexual intercourse or maybe some private parts of a man. And I asked her, so what has already started? And she goes like, I think but it hasn't started yet then, but it was about to start soon. And yeah, I think that a lot of things started long ago, and I was really lucky with so many energies and so many people working environmentally on me that it didn't happen sooner. I was really lucky. And yeah, and just knowing how much it changes if you see a pedophile and you touch him, and you see a pedophile and you don't touch him. How much it changed your expression and the willingness and freedom to talk about it, and in what light it puts you when you talk about such things. publicly, knowing that, and knowing that I didn't go further with that I was here lucky. To some degree, I probably understand those who experienced more and they were unaware what they were doing. So it's really hard to come out and talk about it, especially if that was, overcrossing the boundaries with some relative from your family that makes you think about yourself that you are sick when you're not, you are abused. So I believe the system creates a lot of abuse on a lot of people, and therefore I talk about the content of my book. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that, and talk to you soon.